You are now entering the lane.
Welcome back, everyone. This week, we discuss Gragas being disabled for the rest of the League World Championships, Artanis has hit the Nexus as the newest hero for StarCraft preorders, and the Vainglory League Autumn Finals are in December, and we have all the info that you need for this event. All this and more on episode 66 of the Lane Podcast.
Triple kill!
Kill for Hootie!
Pentakill! Dominating.
The Lane Podcast.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Lane Podcast, your weekly show talking about the world of MOBAs, from Heroes of the Storm to League of Legends to Vainglory to anything else we feel like bringing up on this show. I, of course, am Jake Williams, an avid sort of casual player of these games, and I've brought my fellow MOBros once again, Brad Stark and Brad Chmielewski. Guys, what's up?
Hey.
What's up? Hollywood has returned.
Hey, Hollywood Chmielewski.
So you did listen to last week's episode. Or maybe we made that joke every time he's gone.
Yeah.
It's like every other episode. So we just anticipate, should we not have you next week?
Well, what? In 2 weeks, we're all going to be gone.
Ugh.
Back to California.
We're all Hollywood in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'll never be Hollywood.
Yeah. How was the trip, man?
Yeah, it was good. Not as much wine as you would think in wine country. Never is. Like,
I'm sure there's plenty of wine. Maybe you just didn't partake as much as you.
Yeah, but our contact there knows we're beer people. And then he also is like, I'd rather drink beer too. And
I just
so
happen to work with wine people.
So he's like, I'll show you these places that have good beer. It's like, all right.
Hey man, just because you work at a corned beef factory doesn't mean that you're going to be eating corned beef all the time.
Right, you might like sausage.
Yeah. Like Brad does.
I love that this is the analogy you came up with. I think that's a perfect segue to jump into what we've been playing.
What we've been playing.
So this week, Brad, since you're back, I want to keep hearing from you. I want to hear what you've been playing, what you've been doing in any of these MOBAs. We know some Vainglory happened. It had to have happened.
Right, it happened. But, man, been so busy. And even though, like, traveling so much and these MOBAs are on the mobile, I just haven't had a chance to play as much as I think I would like. But it's probably good because I'm feeling maybe a little bummed out about Vainglory. Since the skill tier resets, there's just, like, this, like, I guess, pounding feeling that's going to happen again in January. So it's like, what am I doing? Like, what am I fighting for?
I think the skill resets are too often. I think you're right. I think the what is it, 3 or 4 months? 4 months?
Yeah.
It's not long enough, honestly.
Right.
I could see it being twice a year, that being okay.
Sure.
But
summer and spring.
It seems like you have a lot of work to do if you plan on being at a higher at climbing.
Yeah.
And then you're just gonna have to do it again in a couple months anyway.
Right. So I'm wondering if January comes, do they do it the same way, or do they kind of have a different algorithm now? Because, hey, I didn't play on all these different Smurfs I had because I was focused on the one account. So like the player accounts have decreased a lot, so they have a different algorithm this time where it's like, okay, it's a soft reset this time. It's not a compression.
Maybe there's less of a reason to have Smurfs now.
Sure.
You know?
Right.
But right. That's exactly what I was thinking. Was you were bred to play a certain way because the system was such that you're like, well, I've reached where I'm going to reach.
Yeah.
I'm not really going to drop that much. I'm not really going to climb that much.
Do it again.
So I'll just do it again. That's exactly, I think, what the season reset does. I think that's why you see in League of Legends people do it a lot, because the season's a full year. You might hit your tier in a couple months or a month or something.
Right.
Yeah,
If you're a
like,
streamer, some of the streamers play all day, so they're like, oh, well, I made it this far. You guys want to see me like level account and play Vayne all day?
And there's the urgency of like that last bit of time before the reset happens, where you're like, I gotta get to this level, kind of like what I'm doing right now.
Sure.
But so maybe they thought by having more seasons per year that they would increase that kind of fervor.
Sure. I think it probably serves both purposes, but
Yeah.
I could see the exhausted portion
because
coming
then,
out more.
All right, so it gets compressed, and all right, I'm decent at the game. I'm not like top at the game. I'm decent at, but then I'm now lower in rank, so I'm getting matched with people that maybe were also lower than I was. So you're
Like me.
seeing a lot more you get a lot more AFKs because that's what happens at the lower ranks. Like people do get stuck down there because you do have bad games. Like it's not
Yeah.
it's not
That's your
always
experience?
Yeah, of course that's my experience.
it's not always because you didn't carry hard enough. It's like, oh yeah, that guy decided to just buy scout traps and stay in base all game.
I've told you, like, playing just lane all the time, I can go like 16-2 and still lose games because just people are trash.
Yeah.
Like, people are trash at this low elo. Like, I'm done.
I think it's also like, I mean, don't get me wrong, we get plenty of levers in Heroes and
Right.
League and
Yeah.
other like PC based MOBAs.
Not
but
as
like,
much with Heroes, honestly. You don't get. I think you get much less levers with Heroes than any of the other
because
games.
the penalty is frustrating. Like
Yeah.
you trying to even reconnect to the game is incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
Like it's still been a problem. But I feel like with the mobile, like I can just put it down kind of thing.
You get people like
Yeah.
that just don't
Right.
do anything, or it's like, well, I'm just gonna stay
Sure.
bot and push. And
I was commenting earlier in the weekend or something. We were talking about Call of Champions and my experience there, where it's like you said you have to play ranked because that's where people care.
Yeah.
I'm playing quick match and sometimes it's 1v3. My team logs in, they die once and they're like, oh neat, and they leave.
Oh yeah, and in Call of Champions, it's bad in the casuals. Like even if you have a duo person and you go in, the other third person will AFK instantly. It's like,
Sure.
really? All right, I'll just solo rank because
But-
those people actually care about their
Yeah.
score, their trophies in that game.
it goes back to that episode a few weeks back where we were talking about playing ranked because that's where people care.
Right.
Yeah.
Which turns out not always the case, but yes, more often the
More
case
often
for
than-
sure.
yeah.
Like you think people are there to care.
So I guess I'm seeing a lot of that in Vainglory, and it's like, I don't know, it kind of hurts and just makes you be like, I just need to take a break here. Or then it makes you like, oh, well, I should just pair up or get a party together because that's the only way I'm going to guarantee or bet my chances of winning the match are better because I have a full party now,
And you can rank with a full party
Yeah.
in
You
Coordinate.
Vainglory.
Which
you can
is-
do full threes
Yeah.
to do solo
which is
rank.
messed up. But
I think that's they shouldn't let. I don't even think they should let you duo if you're gonna play ranked because that's just too much control. Like it's too much of a control. Like if you are a full team and they're like just individuals, your whole team's on Discord, their whole team's not.
Yeah, their player base it's too small, and I can see that daily. Just the people that I end up getting matched with, it's like you are 2 skill tiers higher than me. I am solo, and you're in a party, and that shouldn't happen. Stuff like that happens, so it kind of bums you out on the game sometimes. But I still play a lot. It's like you're just addicted to these MOBAs because it's always just like one more match, one more match.
For sure.
I gotta get my win in today.
Right, and I think what you're seeing is that I think matchmaking is probably arguably one of the biggest challenges in all of these games.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out exactly how to do it, and of course player base goes a huge way to making it better.
Yeah, because you even see people on Twitter like, oh, I'm not bad, like, or getting asked again later. It's like, why am I paired with these trash players? And like, so everyone always thinks they are better than
you
they are.
Yeah.
But especially me.
But I can't think of the last time in League that I thought it was unfair where I was paired. Like if I got a diamond guy in my queue, it's like, oh, because I queued with my friend who's really good. Like,
Yeah.
of course, I get it. But then that's comparing
Millions of players.
millions, right? Right, exactly. That's not a fair comparison.
Yesterday I played a game, and the problem was yesterday I played a game of League. This is specifically pertaining to what you just said, and I ended up playing with a duo, like people that were duoing, and one of them said, well, I'm a Plat Smurf, and I'm like, sure, yeah, buddy, whatever.
We're all.
We're all Plat Smurf. Hey, look me up, C9 Medios. But so we play, and like he makes the guy rage quit on the opposite team. He's so good. So I'm like, cool, and I win that one, and then I queue up again, and I get paired with these guys again, and I'm like, great, another free win, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Same stories, like says, hey, like make sure I get mid Plat Smurf, and I'm like, this time I'm like, cool, man, and I get stuck with top, and I don't usually play top. I usually play jungle or support, and I just get dumpstered by this Fiora top. Like I'm Gnar,
Right.
and this probably because the guy's MMR is so high, I got paired with this Plat like or whatever high gold Fiora, and I'm just getting like destroyed.
Okay.
It's gross.
Like that was always the worst feeling when we would like queue up as 4 or 5 and all play together, and I'm like super bronze, and I happen to have the gold guy as the opposite ADC, and I'm like, damn it,
Yeah.
What? Don't put me here. Put me somewhere less.
At least with Vainglory, the map's smaller. There's less people. If one person's struggling, it's easier to change where the pressure on the map is and help someone out, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, I think matchmaking is the hardest thing, and a lot of companies, they don't want to talk about it, or they try stuff, or just say they're working on it. I think you guys were talking about the Heroes matchmaking last week, and how that's just a big issue, and
It's a hard thing to get right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you will never make everybody happy. There's
No, but you want to at least hopefully the people that love these games and count us among them because we play them all the time. You would hope to think that over 50% of my games would be even and competitive, but sometimes I think there's probably a personal feeling of weight put on that it doesn't ever feel that way. It feels that one sticks out in your memory where you get ranked with somebody who's totally unranked and you're like, but I'm ranked 4. Why am I playing with you? You just started. You have 10 games.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense.
And then when I'm also playing, I'm usually playing support because people insta-lock the lane, and then it's like, all right, well, I can do this or this, and then I'm usually more than willing to I'll play support, and that's just when you get behind, it's as the support, it's I don't know, guys, there's nothing I can really do here.
I can stun people.
I can get us some vision down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it. So maybe I need a little break, and maybe being busy is a good thing.
I got an idea. You should play some League of Legends.
Or Heroes.
Yeah.
We gotta. Have you finished your placements yet?
For League?
I gotta
League.
I gotta
in
finish.
League, I have.
I
Not
haven't
in Heroes.
finished.
Where are you
okay.
in League?
I was Silver 3.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you're
You're probably Bronze 3 now because you haven't played in a year.
Stark,
What,
the
my-
authority,
Yeah.
the rank authority.
Yeah. Let me tell you.
I don't think you can play Heroes ranked yet. I don't think your account was level 30 yet. Maybe it is.
It's 38.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Why did I think he was? Oh no, you started playing way later. Never mind.
yeah.
All right, we got it.
I'm the one that...
I haven't finished my League placements yet, so I think I still have 9.
So you should do your League, and I should do my Heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should, but I only have to play 9. You got to play 20.
But why don't you guys duo it in both cases? So you play one League game and then go to over to Heroes and play one Heroes game. In a week or 2, you guys will be done.
Probably for the same reason we both don't want to, is that our MMRs in each respective game is not friendly to the other person.
League's probably about the same.
I don't know. It's probably real low. I have a
But he
handful
plays
of games.
less
But
than
you-
you do.
But there's a lot of it's just the understanding of the game.
Mhm.
It's not so much
I can understand it.
mechanics.
Mechanically, will it happen? No.
Yeah,
Not for me.
but
That's why you don't pick Echo or Riven or anything like that. You play Tarek, you play Annie, you play Click Win Champs.
Click win champs.
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I could start a new account and we could do Heroes. I got to get to level 30 first, and then
Right, that's
that would take it till after BlizzCon. Yeah.
Yeah, just buy something off of Fiverr or something.
Right. Somebody get my account up.
Can you buy accounts on G2A?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, let's not go there. Cool. Stark, what have you been up to? I think here in the notes it says something about this game called League of Legends. You've been playing a little
Have
bit
you
of that.
heard about this game, League of Legends?
The basis for this where the show started.
Yeah, I have completely turned off I'm almost 95% just playing League of Legends right now. I've got maybe a couple games of Vainglory this past week and one game of Heroes in this week, but it's all about that climb right now. I'm gotta get in the gold, and things are going good.
You're focused right now.
I'm focused. I'm not gonna say I'm playing the best League of Legends of my life because that would be a lie.
But you're determined. You're like Rocky.
I'm determined.
You're not the best boxer, but you train real hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm running up them steps.
You get home, you're like,
Yeah.
log on.
Yeah.
Literally, my office is on the 3rd floor of my townhouse, so I'm running up those steps. I get to the top,
Yeah.
raise my fists above my hands, and then I put
Log
one
in.
fist down and click, log
You
in.
literally
Yeah.
have a lever that as soon as you sit down and pull it, your headset lands on your head and the game logs you.
Yeah.
Beer pours for you.
Yeah, I do not play when I'm drinking.
I think I always play while I'm drinking.
Oh, really? Well, you
Might be a problem.
Maybe that's a problem.
Maybe why I am not.
But so we got till I think November 11th until the end of the League of Legends season. It's right around there. So that gives us how many days? 20 days maybe. I got 20 days.
Till the 11th.
Yeah.
Something like that. Math. I don't know. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you lose some days because of BlizzCon. You lose an
I lose
entire
some days
weekend.
because of BlizzCon.
You don't have a laptop.
For some reason. I do, but I'm not playing League of
You
Legends.
can't use mine.
I'm not gonna use yours.
Okay.
I'm not gonna play League of Legends when I'm at BlizzCon. I'm gonna play Blizzard games when I'm at BlizzCon.
They're gonna find you.
Yeah,
Hey, are you playing
I'm
League of
pretty
Legends?
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like IP blocking is happening on those networks.
We'll just
that
play
weekend.
Call of Champions while we wait in line for Overwatch.
Ooh.
You probably get like 3 games
Yeah.
of Call of Champions.
Or Paladin. What was that game you were talking
Paladin.
about?
That game's a joke.
Yeah.
That looks cool. I think it looks good. Anyway.
Well, anyway, so I got some time. I'm in the middle. Right, I got one more game in my series to get into Silver 1.
Okay.
And then I just gotta
Is that the highest you've been then? Silver 1?
Silver 1 is the highest I've ever been. So one more game and I'm as high as I've ever been.
So you're in your promos right now.
Yeah, I'm in my promos. I've won one game. I lost one game. So it's this third game.
Oh yeah, it's best of 3 and then best
Yeah.
of 5 is to go.
Best of
another
5.
color,
Yeah.
like,
So my
tier.
my promos to get into gold are best of 5. So I figure I need 15 games at the minimum to move.
It's not too bad, and you can figure in what, like 3 or 4 a night, maybe. Depends
Depends
on how you schedule.
Yeah, I try to keep it to two or so. But I scheduled at least one game a night when I started doing this.
Right.
But I've been doing like 1 or 2.
Right.
So.
And you got weekends, so that adds a little more
Yeah,
time.
but the weekends have been busy because of weddings and stuff,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's Halloween season, so we've got
Parties.
and. But I think I'm feeling really positive about getting into gold. We'll see. Will I do ranked next year? I don't know.
You will.
Probably.
There's no reason not to do rank. I thought we
Right.
went over
Didn't
this.
you
Right.
listen to a couple episodes ago?
I don't listen to this show. I don't listen to this show. Yeah, so I'm getting there, but at the sacrifice of playing all these other fun games.
Right. And what's
And
this
also-
about Tom Kench here?
I am terrible at Tom Kench. I've decided. I am really
Stop
bad.
jungling. That's your
No,
problem.
like I've been playing him. Yeah, no, it's just no good. Like I think my Tom Kench win rate is super low, and I think it's partially that I'm not great at him, and I think it's partially, I don't know, that I'm not great at him.
The first step is admitting it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So,
acceptance.
If
like-
you listened to the show last week, ignore everything I said about how to play Tom Kench, because I'm not a good Tom Kench player, and you should not be listening
But again,
to me.
that comes with like the knowledge of what you can do with him. It just maybe means like the kit feels a little bit different or isn't quite what you're used to, and,
Right.
and that happens to tons of champions, tons of heroes in these games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a complex man, and no one understands him except his woman.
Does he have
Mrs.
No,
Mrs.
Mrs. Kench, right?
Kench.
Why would you
Mom
give him a
Kench.
last?
Probably his mom.
Mom
It's his
Kench?
mom.
Yeah, it's his
Yeah.
mom.
He doesn't have a woman. He's too busy.
No, he's too busy.
Cooking and eating.
Cooking and eating.
Yeah, he's in overweight guys. They have problems getting ladies. So I'm no good at Tom Kench, man. I'm sorry for everyone out there who's played a game with me as Tom Kench, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to stop. Or that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop.
Good,
Okay.
because you talked up how fun he was last week.
He's so much fun to play, honestly.
Yeah.
I just lose all the time, but you lose with a smile on your face.
right.
Yeah. Isn't that what League of Legends is all about?
I hope so.
Sure, yeah.
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 I think so.
Yeah. Jake, but now it's time for you to tell us what you've been playing.
This has been a pretty slow week for me as well. I think it's just a product of being busy, but mostly heroes, as it were. Many times I log into League just to see what's going on, and I think to myself, like, I really want to play Jinx right now. Jinx looks super good, but I'm afraid I'm going to get in and just get ganked over and over again by some Zed or Nocturne or something, and I'm not going to have a
I
good
bet
time.
anyone plays
No
those
one's
people.
playing Nocturne.
Well, it's the threat of someone
Yeah.
who can just click me and he's like, yo, you're dead.
Click to win,
That's all.
champions.
Click to win.
Because
Yeah.
I'm going to miss my chompers inevitably. and
Your
not catch them.
Rivens, your... Yeah.
Especially when you're playing AP Jinx.
Yeah.
Then you're-
But so in Heroes, there's an interesting thread that came up last week. Somebody brought up, like, who do you think the most balanced hero in the game is? And that doesn't get asked a lot in League, but in League, a lot of talked about, people say Orianna a lot of times is a very balanced hero. She can be very complex
Orianna.
to play, but she
Annie.
she has like decent early, mid, and late game. She provides a lot for your team as well as can do damage. She can also be utility, that sort of thing. So I think that's an interesting thing. So somebody brought up Vala as one of the like most balanced heroes, the Demon Hunter, right? And
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. I would say Vala, probably Malfurion. He's not like an overpowered healer, but he provides like a stun. He provides some healing. He also provides mana. He's just got a lot of stuff that it's not broken, basically. It doesn't have all the utility that Uther does, but provides a lot of stuff. So I was like, I thought about Vala, like, her and other characters in these games, it's like Ashe in League of Legends. Like, sometimes when you play these first heroes you get, or like I think I got her for free for Diablo or for buying Diablo or something. These first ones you kind of just forget about and you kind of throw them away as like tutorial heroes or too easy or something because the shiny Kael'thas is in the game now. Vala's super strong, and I started playing her again and had just a lot of fun. She's got a lot more escapability than like a Kael'thas does. She's a little bit more tanky. You're still squishy, but you can just get out of things if you want. Plus, people in heroes, I still contend that people don't pay attention to auto attack damage. They don't pay attention to how much you're just sitting there poking at them. She has a talent, searing. It's like searing attacks. You activate it, and for the next like 5 seconds, you have alt crits. So it's like, I'm just gonna kill you over here. Don't do anything. Like, I'm good.
Right. Yeah.
If nothing else, you can pop strafe and kind of just walk around hitting everybody. So I went back to Vala and actually had some pretty successful ranked games. Plus, no one hates you when you pick Vala. Like, she's just
that's fine.
yeah, she's pretty good.
It's not like playing Abathur.
Yeah, it's a little less polarizing than that for sure. But on the same vein as Marksman, the state of Jim Raynor, of Jimmy.
I love him.
I think he's super strong.
Never stop loving him.
He's also, like, he's weirdly complex. Like, his kit is super basic, and he's not, like, I don't know how to describe it, but you need to still be able to play him right. Know exactly when to boost yourself into a fight in your allies, or know exactly when to knock someone back.
I think he is the closest thing in Heroes of the Storm to League of Legends ADC role.
Right. He feels like it.
It's all about positioning and constantly doing damage.
Right. And he doesn't have a traditional escape. You've got your, like, boost heal thing.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, the adrenaline rush. But in general, my thought on Raynor lately is if you're playing ranked and you can play him, pick him before the other team does, because he's just annoying. His auto range is now longer than it used to be. This patch came out a few months
and
ago.
He's got a skill that makes it even longer.
Right.
A talent.
It's just, and over the game, if you let him farm and he has like Giant Killer and Seasoned Marksman and those talents, like your autos just keep adding up and adding up and adding up, and eventually he's just like poking you just a couple hits and you're dead.
Right.
Okay.
So, but he's the tutorial guy, so you would think he's crappy, right? But I just feel like if you can play Raynor, or if you can learn to position and play Raynor well, much like we talked about Lieutenant Morales in positioning last week, like he's another guy like that. He just does damage. Like, you need to just pick him. He's pretty much good on most every map.
If I have to play a damage character, I'm probably picking Raynor.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus his ultimate Hyperion, the big battleship.
Yeah.
On any map is useful.
Yep.
Like, especially if you're like, well, we don't have minions. Let's just seize this keep right now and take it down.
Yeah. That's the Hyperion are the little dudes, right?
No, that's the Wraiths.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah. Or Raynor's
I always call it
Raiders.
the Yamato cannon.
Well, because that's what it's a battle cruiser.
Yeah.
But it's Yamato cannon in the game is the like ability that you can upgrade.
Okay.
Something like that. So he's been pretty good. Otherwise, practicing a couple warriors. I'm trying to get better at being a secondary warrior in comps, because I think 2 tanks is actually really strong right now, especially with Arthas is good. Trying to get better at Rexar with the new controls of Misha. She's super confusing, and I'll get it someday. But you can solo bosses by yourself at level 10 whenever you want, so your bear doesn't die and you don't lose health.
Okay.
So it's kind of like Nunu sneaking Baron or something, right? Like, you got to pay attention at a certain time in the game. And then new ETC. I got a couple of games on him. Dude, so good.
Told you.
Like, stupid good.
I told you.
how much disruption he has. You might end the game with more kills than even, or more takedowns rather than the people that should be doing damage, because you're just in there causing stuff.
Mm-hmm. So have you played any Morales this week?
No, I didn't try.
You haven't? Well,
No.
next, she's getting buffed.
I did. She's just getting buffed. She's getting some health buffs.
And she's already super annoying.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to make her OP.
Right. I think it's going to go to a point where people are learning that you need to just dive her for sure.
Yeah.
But also, like, people are also getting really good with her and staying safe, and then you can't do anything. So, me, I'm not that person. I'm the guy who used my medevac ship and went half a screen away and then got killed by everybody. So
You need to play some more.
I do need to play some more.
I need to grab her as soon as I get some coins.
Some coin. There is a bonus week coming up.
Yeah, because of all. We'll talk about that.
Talk about
names,
this.
yeah.
And then the last thing I played was a couple of games of Vainglory with you guys.
Yeah.
Right,
last night,
yeah.
which
we trioed.
very rare that we're all on plane.
I don't think it's
Yeah,
ever
so-
happened before. Actually.
And we all got to jump in Discord. It was way better than Skype. This is the
Yeah.
first time I've done multiple people Discord, which was awesome.
Okay.
I think I'm just bad at the controls. I think I don't play the touch style enough. I feel that way when I play Call of Champions too. I just feel like I'm not effective.
Okay.
And it's probably, and maybe you had that transition when you started playing Vainglory, but you probably can't remember now.
Yeah, I don't.
I honestly don't have a problem with it, but you probably play on your iPad, and I play on my iPhone 6.
Sure.
And I use the claw configuration, right? So I'm just like, look how easy it is for me to move around the minimap, right? The minimap's right here, and then I'm also
Yeah, I get it.
clicking, and I'm checking the minimap, clicking.
Right, I'm moving around and
Yeah.
stuff. I think what I was finding was that it can really, I would assume, only register 2 touches at once, anywhere.
Yeah,
Is that part of the game? Is that a known thing?
I think
Yeah,
that's
because
the limitations of the.
Yeah, because there's no
mobile
there
device.
are multi-touch gestures, but there's nothing built into the game for a multi.
So I think what happened too often was obviously you have to put like one finger on the mini map, and then suddenly you have this like scaled weird version of moving yourself around
Yeah,
the map.
it's like
right?
clicking on the minimap in
you could click
Right.
somewhere
League of
else.
Legends
Yeah.
or somewhere. Yeah,
So I'd do that, and then I'd click with the other hand to move, or then like when I wanted to chase someone, I just wasn't. I guess I probably had too many fingers on something, and then tried to hit my boots to catch them, and it wouldn't go. Or you would be calling out an ability for me to use, and I'm like, I think I used it. Like I don't know where it is. So I was probably pretty salty in general at the controls, but I had a good time.
Sure.
It was fun to jump in, and our coordinated play. Like even though I have barely played this game, I think the skills carry over really easily. Except I think we found out that Joule, Glaive, you got to really coordinate what you're doing.
Yeah, we were messing up a lot of the time where you would have totally landed that stun and I punted them away.
You're like, gotcha.
I was like, oh shit! Like every freaking time.
Like, granted, every time you always had good hits away as Glaive, so we probably killed them anyway. But it was just like, I hope that nobody saw that.
No, it was generally pretty good because
Everyone saw that because I was streaming it.
Yeah, it was generally the glaive moves are pretty good because you usually would get them on your turret, and then I would use Ringo's slow shot, and then they would usually be too slow to not die.
Right. The problem with that game is they were all basically ADC champions, and we let the game go too long,
Yeah.
and they had all the items, and we were
I could just poke us out.
they just poke us down.
But we'll talk a little bit about more about Vainglory in our character select this week. Since you're back, we weren't going to do it last week without you.
I thought you guys were gonna do it and just make stuff up.
We talked about it.
We talked about it.
Yeah,
We're saving that for a rainy day.
for a rainy day. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that's going to cover everything this week that we've been playing. Let's jump into a reminder about our monthly MOBA challenge.
Weekly challenge.
So, as a reminder for our monthly MOBA challenge, October is quickly coming to a close. We're going to be out of here
We got one more week.
one more week.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to introduce a new one before we head off to BlizzCon, I think. We're doing the Iron Man challenge, and of course, it's screenshots or any stories you have from no death games. We'd love to see those over on the Lane Podcast, or rather at the Lane Podcast on Twitter. And of course, if you want to do it even bigger, go big, go home here. Try to do it multiple games in a row.
Right.
I still can't even get one, so I'm gonna not do that multiple games thing.
I don't even. I think my aggression nature. I couldn't even do bot games because inevitably I would dive behind a turret
Yeah.
and something and be like,
No,
I'm gonna get this.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what happens because even in the situations where you're destroying the other team, I just get more and more cocky and aggressive,
Right.
and then I die because I
Okay.
do something stupid because I don't care because we're winning anyway, right?
Right. So that's how I think it's going to go this month. But just wanted to let everyone know, a reminder of our MOBA challenge, the Iron Man challenge. Try to send us your screenshots of your no death games. Maybe even attach a little story to let us know kind of how that game played out and how it went. We love hearing these stories of these heroic victories where you were never taken down. It always feels good, but they're so rare.
It is
They seem to not happen very often. We're going to jump out of the monthly MOBA challenge reminder, and let's get to the news.
This is the news.
Welcome to the news this week, and this week we're going to cover actually quite a bit. I think now that you're back, it's like the games realize, like, oh, the guys are back.
The gang's back together.
We should do a full
The
block
boys
of
are back in
news.
town.
Bunch of stuff happened in actually all of our favorite games this week, so we're going to have a little bit of everything, starting with League of Legends, of course. probably the biggest thing that came out is in regards to Worlds. So if you're not watching the esports scene, of course, this might not mean that much to you.
We'll talk about that more in the queue section.
In the queue as well,
Yeah.
which hopefully people have been enjoying. I know we've been enjoying Worlds. It's like our favorite time of year for League of Legends for sure.
We know it's been a little less, or a little bit more of like a stagnant thing instead of hopping around like we usually do within the queue. But
Right.
just bear with us. It's only a couple more weeks.
Right. So what we have for news here is actually LOL Esports posted an announcement. We have links in our show notes over at thelanepodcast.com, but this announcement is that Gragas, Ziggs, and Lux are the 3 champions who are disabled for the rest of Worlds 2015, which of course only includes the semifinal and grand final that will happen over the next 2 weeks. However, let's start off the bat here. Lux and Ziggs, not important.
Okay.
Well,
Why?
Maybe,
Well, yes.
Maybe Lux.
Let's. I don't want to say not important because we're talking about a Worlds where like
Mordekaiser is
upwards
ADC.
of upwards of 70 champions have been played so far.
Okay.
So
All right.
What was it last year? Probably 30.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Sure.
So it's we're talking like 50% of all champions in the game are being used.
Okay.
So of course these are it may be not as important to where Gragas is like almost a contested
Sure.
pick in every single game.
I guess, yeah, that's what I mean to say is that I think Gragas is the important footnote here, or the headline
The
here
Lux
for
and
this.
Ziggs.
Right.
Huh.
And it
So-
all has to do, Stark, why don't you break down kind of, it's something that happened in a game this past week and something they were clearly able to recreate.
Right. It was Fnatic origin. What game was it?
It was Fnatic
Versus
EDG.
EDG
because
EDG game. You're right.
they let Mordekaiser through.
In
Yeah.
Gangplank.
Right. So
And they're both still undefeated. We just want everyone to know that. They've been
Yeah.
both picked, and they're both
so
still undefeated.
20 minutes into the game pauses, and they have to remake the game, and then we find out that it's because Reignover can't use his Q as Gragas. Like for some reason his Q's bugged out and he can't use it. So they're like, okay, they can't figure out why it's happening. They tried killing Gragas and seeing if he would come back to life and everything would be okay. Nope. So they had to restart the game with a complete new pick and ban. They kept Gragas as still available because they didn't understand. Later, they went back and they discovered, hey, this bug is super replicatable.
Right.
Like this, it's possible that this could happen again.
Okay.
And not only that, but it's also replicable with Lux and Ziggs specifically. And so, to me, what that means is if you're trying to figure out what the bug is, I think including those other 2 champions tells you what it is. Because all 3 of those champions have projectile abilities, right, that you then activate once it's on the ground. So you either wait and it activates on its own, or you press it a second time and it activates.
Right.
So something with that mechanic in the game bugged out.
I know, I was trying to think offhand, and I'm sure a viewer could correct us for sure, but like I can't think of anyone offhand that has anything else like
right.
that.
Exactly.
I can't imagine. There's got to be more.
No, I think that's it.
Really? Okay.
I think, and that's why they're specifically targeted, because you've got Zig's Satchel Bomb,
Yep.
Gragas' Barrel, and Lux's
Light Ball.
Yep.
deal. I guess maybe Oriana's ball, but that seems different because it zips
doesn't
around.
Never explode. So
I think it's a different kind of code. I think
Sure.
with the Ziggs, Lux, and Gragas' abilities are similar enough, at least in how they work, that it's probably the same line of code that's causing the problem.
Because those projectiles, there are similar things when you think of something like Vel'Koz's Q, which you shoot and then reactivate. But these 3 abilities, in specific with Lux, Ziggs, and Gragas, they actually sit somewhere where
they
you
sit
told
somewhere.
it to. It's not,
There's an AOE circle around them, and then they
Interesting.
activate.
Yeah.
of course, we're not coders, but I mean,
Right.
process of elimination, it
Yeah.
kind of
Those
seems like this is somehow the...
zeros and ones line up.
Yeah. Thanks, Brad.
Our resident programming expert back at it again.
Right. So because of that, because of its replicability,
Reproducible?
reproducibility.
Recreatable?
Yes. They are out of
Vita Beta
worlds.
Benjamin? Yes.
They're out.
Gragas is out.
Which is especially because with Fnatic
Finally.
and like the EU teams love Gragas.
I was gonna say he seems. My personal opinion, and we'll probably bring it up again in our Q segment, was that this will affect Origin the most. I feel like Gragas is like Amazing's go-to. Of course, he's got a decent Elise. He's got a good Rek'Sai. He's got some good
Echo's
junglers.
available.
But
right.
it's kind of cuts them out, so it's a non-bannable. It's like, oh, we don't have to ban Gragas
Yes.
now.
Right.
Right.
Which I don't. has Gragas been banned that much? As much as like
No.
Elise? I feel like Elise is getting banned more than
Yeah,
any
no,
other
I don't.
Joule player,
But once again, it's another. It's another piece taken off the table.
Yes,
right.
exactly. Especially strategies. Like you
Right.
could have been. They've been preparing for months with this champion.
Think
and now they
about
can't play
all
him.
of their team comps that are reliant on Gragas. They can't use those anymore.
But it is weird that they've been preparing for months with this champion in this patch and haven't recreated this bug beforehand.
Mm-hmm. I think people have known about the bug, but I think they finally figured out exactly how to reproduce it. And apparently, it sounds very common to the point where you might accidentally do it, like happened in this game.
Yeah.
You could argue whether or not, unrelated to the bug, this remake cost EDG the series, but I don't think that's not.
No, I don't
relevant
think
in
that's
this
true.
case.
Yeah.
They might have picked up that game.
Well,
Sure.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more in the queue.
Right. So also in the news this week, we have a new page for League of Legends. That's the headline is, or rather the tagline on the page is, it's a new user onboarding page. So this, I think, is a follow-up to the video we saw last week that Stark and I talked about on our show, all about what is League of Legends, right? Like a very basic breakdown of what it is.
So onboarding, such a horrible term.
That's like a very corporate
It's
thing, right?
very corporate, yeah.
Literally, when you hover over the title of the page and the code is new user onboarding.
Like
Now it says new player guide. Last week it said new user onboarding. That's bad.
Gross.
Guide is better.
Right,
you know.
because we did a explainer video here at Luski's about onboarding, like for your company.
Gross.
So
Yeah, exactly. So what this page is it's supposed to be the go-to. I know Blizzard's done this with some of their games for a long time, of like the World of Warcraft page. You can go to it, you can click on all the classes, all the races, you can learn all kinds of info and that kind of stuff. But with these, where it's like matches, you kind of do need a nice hub for like all this information if you've never heard of it, especially with so many eyes and people playing this game in general, as well as watching it. It's like, where else do you get this information?
It's probably a good. If I remember when Heroes of the Dorm was on ESPN, a lot of people that I was working with at the time were coming up to me and say, "Hey, that game that you like is on TV. I have no idea what's going on, but because it was on ESPN, I'm watching it." This, if with League of Legends being on BBC 3 and Worlds coming up, if you have people in your life that seem interested, you can send them this page and be like, any questions you have, this has probably got you covered.
Right. It seems like a much bigger breakdown. They also include on the homepage of the what is League of Legends video, so that helps. But then you can go into a different tab that has roles. Like for instance, I can click on Assassin, right? It tells you kind of what their goal is in a paragraph. It actually takes you to a separate page if you'd like to click all assassins, and it'll show you every character that in any sort of way they consider an assassin.
That's the who to ban page.
Right, this is the who to ban page. So kind of interesting that they do all this stuff, and then of course this is where you confuse players, where you click assassin and fighter, and you get multiple people say roll or something. But I think this is good. I think the biggest problem with some of these games, we may have lucked out actually, guys. Starting with League of Legends, which is arguably the biggest one of them all, right?
Biggest, most complex, and now.
Well, I think Dota 2 is very complex.
I think Dota 2 is complex, but I guess I just mean picking one that has so many different things. I remember talking about, or when we were playing early on in our careers, talking to friends who had played for years, and we're like, well, how do I know where that guy's going? I don't, Rise, who's he? Like, I'm not sure. And you kind of just learn it as you go. And then you learn the difference between, I have 500 gold when I go back. Is an amp tone better than me getting boots and some pots here? Like, it's just stuff you feel out and learn as you go that players might not know. So I think this nice page for new players as well as players or people just interested is probably something they needed a long time ago.
Yeah, probably 4, 5, 6 years later.
Right.
Let's tell people what this game is.
It looks like they have more info too. You can dive deeper into they say future milestones, so things like rune pages and masteries to get used to that kind of thing. They have a page separate for all of the champions you get when you start.
It's really funny because, especially with the League of Legends pro and competitive scene, there's really not a lot of focus on the runes and masteries as far as coverage goes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's interesting. Also, the starting champions.
Right? Do you know what runes?
No, I'm surprised they don't.
Each player.
Surprised they
runs
don't
on?
talk about that at all. Like, oh, looks like such and such is running this time. Like,
Right.
Huh, interesting. So I don't know if on this page it says if I click on starting champions, these are summoner levels 1 to 5. Here's the champions you get. This seems like a weird grouping. We have Ashe, Garen, Jinx, Kha'Zix, Lissandra, Lux, Ryze, Shyvana, Varus, and Wukong. Where's like Annie and like Amumu and Warwick.
That
were,
was
like,
who we
easy people.
had back, right?
Yeah,
Those 800 gold champs.
I wonder if this rotates when you look at it based on free rotation. I know someone like Ash should probably always be, but that's kind of interesting because some of these guys can be very complex. But I guess this is a pretty good range of like, here's a fighter, here's an assassin, here's a marksman, here's a support, like that kind of stuff, right? Although I guess there's really no support in all of that. So check it out.
Like you don't need a support at 1 to 5. Like,
That's true.
Yeah, just go in
Just
lane.
kill people. You
It's
want to
gonna-
kill people. You're in bot games.
Let's be real. Level 1 to 5, no one's in the jungle.
Yeah, no, you
They
can't.
don't know.
You don't have smite, or you didn't have smite
Yeah,
before.
that's right, yeah.
But some people like Brad would just keep smite in lane anyway. He's like, I killed more minions.
This is great. I get a free minion killer.
So check that out over at thelanePodcast.com. We have a link to it. There's no easy link. There should be like a new player.leagueoflegends.com, but there isn't. But we have a link in our show notes over on our site. This week also in Heroes of the Storm, we have Artanis is finally out for those who pre-ordered Legacy of the Void. I haven't had a
Good
chance.
luck.
It's only been out for 2 days, so I haven't jumped in. But I gotta say, based on just watching streams, it seems like a lot of people pick this up just for this hero.
Well, those are also the streamers. That.
I just mean it's usually like Artanis on both sides.
It's popping up. Like he's getting in Hero League. He's getting first picked almost every single game.
Man, StarCraft was crazy popular, so I bet there's a lot of people who are just like,
Yeah.
I'm on board with, like, they probably pre-ordered it last
I don't
year,
know.
or the
Right.
day it came out, the day it was available.
I want to play the story, but I wish there was like a $25 you get the single player, because I'm just
gonna watch the YouTube video of the story like in a month or two.
Oh, when someone puts up
right.
He seems like a pretty awesome tank, but he's less a rather warrior. But he seems to fit more of that bruiser role that people
He's
are trying
not
to
a
get
tank.
To. Yeah,
No,
exactly.
he's not a tank. He's gonna get melted if he's sitting in the middle of a fight.
But that's what I mean by he's classified as a warrior right now.
Right.
But lots of people started using the term from League of Legends, bruiser, for warriors that are more like Sonya, right? Or like Anubarak in some ways, not necessarily him, but people who are like off tanks, a little bit more health, can do more damage, but sacrifice that like health and tankiness for offensive versatility in that respect, right? So interesting to try him out. I'm sure I probably won't be getting him right off, only because I can't get him this week. I'll have to wait till next week to buy him if I want to. But early indications shows that he's really fun. In general, it looks like you can have a blast with his ultimate, which is you call down a laser on someone. It takes a while to charge, and you can technically run faster than it.
No.
I feel like I didn't double check this before I said it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Like I think his maximum, if you get the ultimate upgrade at level 20, if you kill someone with it, it resets and you can call down the laser again. So I saw some guys streaming testing out different heroes, like, oh, test out Murky plus him. So Murky grabs a guy and you just call down a laser right wherever he is, kills him, call down the next person. A lot of people are saying Entomb from Leoric is also really good to get everybody in one spot and just call down a laser to kill everyone. But
so future pro team comps are
Murky,
Murky, Leoric, Artanis.
That would be a lot. I want to see some professional Murky. Is what I want to see.
Yeah.
So check out the Hero Spotlight. It's about 8 minutes long, so it talks a lot about. They do really in-depth stuff with his background, where it came from, what kind of situations you might find yourself in, who you might be good with, all that good stuff. So we have that over in our show notes as well. Also in the news from Heroes of the Storm, we got some Heroes World Championship stuff. We complained last week, or maybe I complained 2 weeks ago, about not knowing a good place for where everybody is, and we also didn't know the groups, but we now know that.
Now we know.
So they announced the Heroes of the Storm World Championship group stages. We don't really know how it's structured yet, and the schedule and how it's all going to work.
Sounds like round robin for the group, and then very much like the group stages of League of Legends,
Right.
and then a 4-team knockout. Yeah.
But do you think it's like League of Legends where they all play each other twice?
Yes.
Or just okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say once seems like not enough.
I think they all play each other twice, and then 1 and 2 from each group plays 1 and 2 from the plays 2 and 1 from the other
Will
group.
that
small
all
bracket.
be at BlizzCon, or is just the finals?
Just the finals.
So I think just the finals, but also they might do semifinals,
Yeah.
finals. But I know the week before,
The knockout stage.
because there's so much esports this year at BlizzCon. For the week prior, they're playing Hearthstone, all the Hearthstone games from the top 16.
It's like a esports year. I feel
Right,
like.
exactly. And
Or
then I
we're
think
just-
they're gonna have to play these games. What would actually technically start being next week, I think they're gonna have to
We're
start
just
playing these.
hyper aware of it too.
Yeah.
because this is our hobby.
This is our hobby now at this point. So
So-
the groups, we should get to those, right? We have in Group A, we have Cloud9, Team YL, Team Dignitas, and GIA. And then from Group B, we have Team DK, Na'Vi, Braveheart, and Tempo Storm.
So
Group A is easy. Cloud9, see you there. Get my DunkTrain whistle. Let's go. Yeah.
Kinda. We should mention that from NA, we have Cloud9 and Tempo Storm. We've covered that. Of course, from EU, we have Na'Vi finishing first, and Team Dignitas, who was formerly known as Bob.
What?
Yeah,
Yep.
they were Team Bob. They got sold to Dignitas.
Damn.
From China, we actually have an interesting situation where Team YL is the second seed. There was a team called E-Star that, by all accounts, destroyed the Chinese scene. They were probably the best, but this is actually not the first time they've not been able to attend a tournament
guess
because of what appears to be visa issues.
One of them's probably a dissident, and they can't leave China.
Could be.
Yeah.
So,
I'm probably full
Right.
of shit.
so what happened was they actually substituted in a team who got third, Braveheart. But I think they technically go as the 1 seed at this point because
That
They don't-
sucks for them.
That does.
or actually, you
stink.
know what?
They don't
Maybe-
shift it
no,
up.
maybe they don't because the EU 1 seed is in their group. And then, of course, from Taiwan, we have GIA, and from Korea, we have Team DK. So a lot of people wondering where MVP Black is. They were barely not good enough to beat DK, but DK is a really good team.
So it'll probably be what, DK and Cloud9 in the finals?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I'm
a
thinking
lot of
right
people
now.
are thinking. Yeah,
Unless some sort of upset, maybe
Right.
Na'Vi, that's a possibility.
sure. So I think from Group A, Cloud9 is definitely the favorite. YL has not performed, at least in whatever records I was able to find. Not
It seems
great.
like the Chinese and Taiwan, in this case, teams are not known for good pick and banning.
Okay.
So they seem extremely
Right.
beatable. to
And we know
everybody.
nothing. I know nothing about GIA, so maybe they're good. Who knows? And then Dignitas, they're good, but I feel like Cloud9's on another level right now. They're just playing
Okay.
It's Cloud9 versus the world at this point.
kind of. And then in the other group, yeah, Tempo Storm seems to be having some internal struggles. As many of you
Public struggles now.
Yeah, right. If anybody listens to the Town Hall Heroes podcast over there with Solid Jake and Kubi and those guys, Zoya opened up, who's the coach or the manager rather of Tempo Storm, on this last episode that aired, I think last night or 2 nights ago, just about sounds like some real turmoil internal to the team. No names were named, but it kind of seeded more of the drama in the public eye, and it's sort of of course, we don't know anything personally about the situation, just whatever we were told.
But we
in
know
that podcast.
plenty because of what Zoe is
We
saying.
can spread rumors.
We're not going to do
Oh.
that. But it's kind of a bummer because I think we were all in the Tempo Storm hype train. We like Zuna from League of Legends.
I'm a big Zuna fan.
So, who knows? There might be changes down the road, but apparently it had something to do with roster locks.
Yeah.
And there was an issue with that.
Zuna was on Cloud9
Yeah.
for a minute, right? Or no?
He switched teams.
In the beginning.
Oh, yes, yeah. His beginning of his, him
Yeah.
and his brother, I think, were both on Cloud9 when they started.
My two favorite Here's the Storm players are Zuna and DunkTrain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're both going to be there.
They're both going to be there.
But so with that in mind, I think Braveheart is the one that people are basically ruling out from Group B. Na'Vi, I think, is everybody's favorite here. Of course, DK is also great, but that group seems a lot harder for sure. Na'Vi, I would be interested in seeing. I think the EU crowd is hyping them up because obviously they're #1 seed, right? They want
Okay.
to represent, but I don't know how much tournament experience they really have, so I'm not sure.
If they can pull it off.
If I'm gonna pick picks, I'm gonna say Cloud9 #1, and I don't know. I guess the other one could be Dignitas, right?
Oh, from that group?
From that group.
Yeah,
And
I'd probably give it. To
In the other group, Na'Vi
Bob.
and
Let's just
DK.
call him Bob.
Call him Bob.
Let's keep on.
Bob
And
is always
And,
call
and
him
then
Bob.
the other group, I'll say it's DK1 and Na'Vi 2.
Okay, yeah, I think either one could be 1 or 2 in that group. For
Final
sure.
game, DK versus
I
Cloud9.
think Cloud9 versus DK.
Yeah.
I think Cloud9 has a really good shot to take this whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's who we're going to be rooting for when
Okay.
we're there.
Listen for
because-
our DunkTrain whistles.
Right. I think now I should probably get a C9 shirt since I support C9 in
Oh, yeah.
multiple games. It's probably time.
Still?
Ouch.
Look, I'm doing a meta joke, right?
Still.
Yeah.
For the video version, hi.
Yeah, please check out the video version where I gave Brad the finger.
So that's all the news from Heroes of the Storm. Lots of cool stuff leading up to BlizzCon, and we'll have plenty more to talk about at BlizzCon and and all that stuff leading up to the World Championship. Brad, what's this about Vainglory's autumn season?
So
It's going to have a live final.
I guess continuing our esports coverage here.
Dude, it's like half the show at this point is esports.
Yeah. There is a show called Esports Weekly that someone won't give me a link to. They just talk about doing it. And I'm like, where can I watch the show? And no one will give me a link.
We should eat their lunch.
Esports Daily.
Yeah.
Esports Daily.
Esports Daily. The Lanes Esports Daily. Boom.
Every
Done.
lane, we're covered.
Yeah.
Welcome to Wednesday, the mid lane of the week.
Yeah.
And
Man. But this will be the VGL, which is the Vainglory League finals, are going to happen in a location in EU, and then I believe it was California in North America. So it's going to be like a 3-day event where if you got a ticket, you also get like ice, you get the next hero to be released unlock code for just going to this event. And yeah, should be some good games.
cool. And we have a link in the show notes if you want the official blog post.
I think it's $10 to go to this event in both regions.
Worth it.
That's not bad.
You gotta fly and get out there.
Well, I'm not going back to California.
Yeah, I know. It's exactly a month after we'll already be there for esports.
Right. So maybe it's about time I probably go back again.
Once a month.
Hollywood Chmielewski.
But so that means that it also says the next hero to be released you get the code for, which we don't have a new.
Do we know?
We don't have a new patch yet for November, and if that was the next hero, they'd be in there. So it seems like we're not seeing a hero in November.
Has there been any so there hasn't been like any? I know some heroes before they come out, they'll release some like lore or do some indications of.
There's been no lore yet. There are like mentions of it's another like 3 heroes with Finn. There's someone named Blackfeather, and then someone else I'm forgetting the name of.
Blackfeather. Okay.
Yeah.
Racist. It's probably an Indian.
I think it's a little like mean, like a poppy looking girl.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I'm sure I'll hate her.
So I guess in similar news, talking about a new hero, we have a new hero in Call of Champions, or I guess they're champions.
Right, they're champions. Yeah, Jack just got released, so they have all their heroes like already mapped out, so they're already made, so they're not like in development.
Right. I thought when we were doing the first ever test flight thing, you could pick like 50 people.
Yeah,
right.
there was a ton
in
of
the
people.
alpha, everyone was in there, so I think that's why you also weren't supposed to stream that or share that because you could see everyone in there.
Gotcha.
So this is Jack. He's basically like a Halloween themed support.
Yeah, Jack-o'-lantern.
He's Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
More or less, but he's a pumpkin.
The pumpkin Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
The Pumpkin King.
He looks pretty solid for support. He's got like a fun like fear kind of mechanic, and he builds up stacks of his like kind of like a rage thing. So.
But it's interesting. I'm watching the Hero Spotlight as we sort of discuss him as well, and it's kind of interesting watching him. Do you think they're going to have a themed holiday? Like, they'll have a Christmas-themed one this year, but, like, they won't do that every year. But this first year, it's kind of novelty that they would release him around now.
Yeah, I don't remember if there was a...
That's got to be not a coincidence.
Right.
That they're releasing him
for sure.
around
But I don't know that
yeah.
they're going to worry about coming up with a new guy next year. They're like, we got a Halloween guy.
I don't know, they might. I don't remember if there was a Christmas or, like, winter-themed person.
I just want a tree that, like, hobbles around and you throw ornaments at people.
Well, they already got a tree guy, so maybe.
So you want Maokai?
No, I want an actual
You said
tree.
you want Maokai?
No, I don't want like a tree.
You said an actual tree.
No, I don't, no, yeah, literally a tree, not like a
there's-
humanoid tree.
There's a tree in the game.
But he's like a human guy. He's got like arms and legs.
Yeah, he's got arms and legs. Losing the mic and the mic stand here.
the beer can mic stand. So check out more about Jack. I keep wanting to call him more, but it's like, nope, just Jack.
It's just Jack.
That's
yeah.
it.
Oh, just like Will and Grace.
Exactly.
Just Jack.
That's the first sitcom reference in a while on this show.
Sorry, I've been slacking.
So I'll probably pick him up maybe when I get home tonight. Give him a try.
Give him a try.
I'll report back.
Is he
next
out
week.
now?
He's out for premium users, and then with like gold, and
Are you a premium user?
I am.
All right.
I got that premium.
That conversation just ended.
Right.
I am. Oh, so you are.
It's different. It's different than the way the Call of Champions does it is different by having like a subscription model instead of some sort of in-game currency like the other games that we know play.
Yeah.
It's
well, they
just
also have in-game currency too.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're not part of the subscription, you have to earn something.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you
Or buy
are the
something.
subscription, you don't need to worry about in-game currency.
I think you still need to buy the people. I think they're available to play for subscription people, and then the subscription gets you bonus gold.
You
and,
earn more, yeah.
Alright.
And they remind you every single time that you could be earning way more
Or if you had premium.
if you had premium, yeah. It's like what Blizzard could do with stim packs. Be like, by the way.
You could have got this with a stim pack.
Right.
Right.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our huge news segment this week. As I mentioned, we do have all of the links to all the stories we brought up here in our show notes, which will be with this post over at thelanepodcast.com. So you can find that and more over there. With that, let's jump out of the news and jump into our character select.
Character select.
In our character select this week, since we have Mr. Hollywood Chmielewski himself
I need
back
like
again
some
this week.
deal with it glasses.
just to just fall from the studio. That's what we need. We're going to do a hero from Vainglory, which we had the pleasure of playing last night. I think Stark and I each got a game in with her. It was my first game ever with her.
Yeah.
Yours as well, or not?
First game, I'm
Trying.
sure I played early games with her,
Okay.
but first game as a more experienced Vainglory
Yes.
player.
The character we're talking about this week is, of course, Joule from Vainglory, who I feel like has got to be one of the most popular characters in this game.
She looks cool. Like, is she the most popular? I don't know. That's questionable. But
I'm not talking popular, just like maybe it's just a look thing, an art thing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like high pick rate or anything. But,
I feel like she looks cool and she's fun to play.
and she's got a huge robot.
Yeah, robots are awesome, right?
Who doesn't love robots?
Where was Joule for you in your beginning games of Vainglory? Was she someone that you picked up early? Was she someone
Well,
that you kind of picked up
when
later?
the game launched here in North America, she was the first hero, like the newest hero to come with the game.
Oh, okay.
So she had just launched, and at that time, she was OP. Like, and I didn't have any glory, and I don't even think you could buy ice at
Couldn't
that.
even get ice.
You couldn't even
Didn't
buy
have that
ice
system,
to
yeah,
get
okay.
that. So it was like I have to play this game a lot to get this person. This sucks because I need her so bad.
And then a hero was born.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then he became the man that you see in front of you today.
because I needed Joule so bad.
Yeah. So let's jump into Joule. Let's talk about the jump puns are going to continue because of one of her abilities. I don't mean to. I think it's just my segue.
Yeah.
Let's just go all in.
Tell me a little bit about Joule. Where does she tend to find herself on the Halcyon Fold these days? Where do people like to use her? What do you like to build? That kind of thing.
So she's usually the jungle carry. She can go lane, but usually you see her going weapon these days. She can go crystal because of her ultimate we'll get into does a ton of damage there. But it's usually weapon, usually like critical strike damage.
Okay. And she's melee, correct?
Right.
Except for one of her abilities, kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
It's got a little bit of range.
So why don't we talk about her abilities then, so people can know a little bit more how to play Joule here. Her heroic perk is called Heavy Plating. What's this all about?
So basically, because she's in a robot that she like steps into, she's got no defense in the back. Like if she gets hit from behind, it hurts more.
That's a very interesting mechanic.
Yeah.
So if you're fighting her like straight on, she has more armor and shield.
It's almost like a negative to run away.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've seen people talk about tricks where if you're
can
going
stutter
against
step.
like a Ringo or somebody and you see them auto attack, you turn back real quick. So it's going to do
Yeah.
less damage by the
Yeah,
time it
okay.
hits you.
I'm usually just too scared, and I'm tapping away furiously anyway to think that
No,
fast.
no.
I'm just gonna get shot in the back and die. It's fine.
Why are my boots working?
Shut up. Okay, so her A ability is her Rocket Leap. This is probably what makes her the most fun.
Right. So this is a leap that will, if it lands on anyone, it will stun them. And anyone who's not hit directly by it, if you're near them, it'll kind of like knock them back.
Sure.
And so the stun can do multiple people. It can do a single person. The jump can jump over walls. It's your escape. It's your engage. It's what she is.
Would you ever want her to engage with this, like be the initiator? I guess only if you can confirm
Yeah.
where it's gonna happen.
Yeah, if you're good at landing that stun.
It's got to be. I think it's got to be coordinated because
Sure.
you can't just Leroy Jenkins in there.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
You've got to. There's got to be some follow up
Right.
with the other people.
Because
on your
there
team.
is a target on the ground. Like everyone on the enemy team can be like, oh, hey, that jump's coming. Let me
Right,
walk to the side.
And it actually kind of is slow
Yeah.
once you're in the air. So enemies that pop boots will probably get away from it.
Mhm.
But we had a pretty coordinated gank the other day where we all hung out in the bush and we're like, if they come in the bush, just jump straight up in the air.
Right. I like
Into the
to,
bush.
my favorite thing is to put some scout traps down there, They try to walk in your bush. You jump on them, smash them. Scout traps go off.
Doing even more damage. You're like, I'm a robot with bombs. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do? Joule's B ability is entitled Thunder Strike, and this is probably the one that I was not getting.
It's an AC/DC reference. That's what you're not getting.
I believe that's Thunderstruck. Or
Yeah.
enemies are
Same
Thunderstruck.
thing. Yeah, they're
right?
thunderstruck when you
Okay.
thunder strike.
Nice.
So this
Nice.
is this is her ability that's gonna it's gonna crit. It's gonna do all the damage. You basically tap, and then you tap the ability, and
Yeah.
then you tap the place you want it to
It's
go.
a skill shot.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a skill shot.
That's probably why I wasn't hitting it very
Yeah.
often. So it literally is a ranged attack that just shoots from you, but you pick the direction.
Yeah.
I thought I was.
So you kind of
clicking-
have to lead it too. If like
Yeah, yeah.
someone's walking or moving, you have to like
They're
guess
going this
where they're
way,
gonna
yeah.
be in 0.5 seconds. You
So
know.
I was accidentally thinking it was more of a targeted ability. So I would like click and then click a person, not realizing that I was like clicking where it goes. I thought I was clicking and it would just go to them.
At least it lets you know
yeah.
if,
I
if
see.
you miss. There's a big miss.
So you can
Yeah.
you can check bushes this way too. It's like, oh, are they in here? Thunderstrike, miss. Nah, probably not.
No
Okay.
one's in there.
Okay, makes sense. And this is the ability that you were having me max with my weapon build. 'Cause
Yeah,
this is your
'cause
main
it's
damage.
got crit. You want it up all the time, and pretty soon you just hit.
And it's just like Azir in League of Legends. The cooldown scales with attack speed on the Thunderstruck.
Okay, so you be using that a ton by the end of the game.
Oh yeah, it's up all the time.
I think it's not that way anymore with Azir, and it was the opposite. Like you get cooldown and you get attack speed.
Sure.
But yeah,
So
same.
basically, you want it's like auto attack, Thunderstrike, auto attack, Thunderstrike. Yeah.
Nice. And maybe I lied earlier about Rocket League being the most fun thing with Joule because Big Red Button, her ultimate ability, is just a lot of fun.
Say Rocket League.
Rocket
League.
Rocket League.
We
Okay.
should play some Rocket League.
Yeah, that's not this podcast.
The Rocket League podcast.
This is kind of an AOE laser. It's a Lux laser.
It's the funnest thing in the game,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
So basically, you wait like a half a second delay, and then you fire a giant laser that comes out of you. You start to kind of move back as you're shooting it because it's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's like an
And-
anime, like
It's a
power move.
Kamehameha.
Yeah, yeah.
It does a lot of damage, and if you're going all crystal damage, this can melt an entire team.
It's a
If, like-
Care Bear stare.
and the longer the enemy's in it, it's ticking for more damage.
Right, so it goes up to, is it 6 ticks or 5 ticks?
I'm not sure how many ticks it actually goes
It's
up to.
over 6
I
ticks,
don't
so
know.
it's like damage. It's
Okay.
dumb.
It was crazy. I think I was obviously the pristine point to use this is if the team lines up and you
Yeah.
hit everybody, right?
Yeah.
I used it a lot of times to just secure a kill of a guy running away, and I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, I'm going to use this, even though the cooldown's probably too much for me to do that based on their death.
No, as a weapon Joule, you want to use it for that. Like, oh, they just got out of my
Yeah,
range.
yeah.
Like, I'll do it now. Where
It's a follow up or it's an engagement maybe.
Because you're kind of a sitting duck if you do it in the middle of a team
Or a
fight.
disengager, I think, is probably its best use if you're going to use it like that, where they've started the fight and you're like, no, quick. You like use this,
Shoot
right?
them, clear the minions, and let's
Yeah.
let the
Yeah.
turret help us here.
Yeah. It's definitely a really fun ability. It's definitely picking someone off from far away. It just says enemy hero killed. And I'm like, I guess my laser killed
Yeah,
him.
and then
I
you
guess
just
I did
like
it.
walk away, strut away.
Hobble
under a
away,
rope.
yeah. I wish you could like slash swagger walk away and just like that'd be a lot of fun. So generally, what do you like to build on her? I know you said weapon. What are the items you're looking for? What are the things to look out for when playing as Joule and your team?
So yeah, I think weapon is the way to go with her right now. Building a Sorrow Blade, and then usually go like double Tyrant's Monocles. You could also maybe throw in a Tornado Trigger if you want it, or a Serpent's Mask. But you don't need the Bone Saw because she has built-in like armor pierce to her kit. So you don't need to build Bone Saw if people are building armor or anything like that.
Okay. It seems like just your job is to do damage.
Yeah, and you have the built-in shield from your heroic perk. That's kind of like, I've heard people argue that her heroic perk is like her heroic negative because it's like, oh, if you turn around, you do less damage. I think the wording needs to be changed on
I
that.
see. Yeah.
So you kind of have your own shield already built into your kit a little bit.
Right. So then, I guess for Joule, you said not the most popular. She's not really being played at the high level very often.
At this moment, it's kind of Glaive and Joule in the jungle are probably like the two weapon carriers you're seeing the most.
Okay.
So
Okay, that's good.
So she is popular. She's, it's hard to land that Thunderstrike sometimes, and that jump is not a reliable stun.
Yeah, well, I can see the Glaive and Joule being able to layer the CC.
Well, they probably wouldn't be on the same team. They're like the jungle carries, like, so you want,
Maybe they
you
should
probably
be
want,
on the same
You want a
team.
Catherine that's gonna stun, and
Okay.
then Joule can stun again.
All right.
Like, hey, I'll start the stun off, and then
You stun and then I jump on you.
and then they're running away. I'm Catherine, and my stun's back up.
Right.
I'll get
and
him
then-
again.
And then big red button.
Yeah.
All that. Well, cool. I don't know.
GG.
I had a lot of fun with her. I only got the one game in, but she's someone that I feel like is probably going to be my go-to pick from now on. That's not
Right.
Ringo, because Ringo, well, Scarf's fun too. But just she was very easy to pick up and understand, especially if you have any other understanding of sort of how like a leap or dash mechanic works in other
Yeah.
games. How like a big, relatively long cooldown ultimate, but also one that's just very impactful in a condensed team fight sort of strategy. If you played these other types of games, you're going to pick her up pretty easily, I think.
Yeah, because the Thunderstrike also does it can hit multiple targets. So it does like kind of AoE damage too,
Yeah.
so it can go through people. So
And I think also the biggest thing that she helped me with is I typically only play laners in this game, just sort of what I get into. She helped me figure out where all the jungle monsters were, since I don't play that often, but she was definitely a lot of fun. So if you're looking to pick up someone new, play Joule, of course. I think we would recommend her here. I think Stark and I both had incredible games on her last night.
I did pretty good.
Yeah. I started that first game like 11-0 or something, 7-0 or something
That
stupid.
first
and
game
then,
was rough because it's the first time I've come up against
double lane.
the double lane and with a Ringo who is on my level.
yeah.
So not only do I have a Ringo who's on my level, but then I've got Saw also like
Yeah.
chipping away at me.
We also had this player Fizzban who's just in the shop for a long time.
Yeah.
He just shall go off.
Couldn't really figure out where he was
Yeah.
going.
Oh, he's at the mall.
He's like,
And of course, Joule is one of the characters that has a tier 3 skin now.
Yeah.
Right? She's got the Kilojoule 9000.
that's the best.
Which kind of just it looks like a jacked up, more cyborg looking robot.
Basically, well, her lore is she stole the original robot. Like, she's a street punk that stole this robot.
She's Aladdin.
Yeah, she's a lad.
Whoa, mind blown.
And then so over the years, she has upgraded this back
okay.
to be better and better.
But the skin level 3, it looks like she's like in the military now
Yeah,
I
with
think
the
she,
skin.
she finally made it.
Like I don't need to be a street
Someone
punk
picked her
anymore.
up.
I'm a sultan now, right? Or what, he's a prince. I'm a real prince.
You can fight me, but I have this stolen mech that's pretty
Yeah.
good. Like, just let me join.
Well, Super Evil, if you're listening, can we please get the next skin? Kind of like in
Aladdin.
the same vein as Reverse Annie. We get a
Mm.
giant robot riding on top of Joule.
A giant.
like-
that'd be
Joule.
funny, yeah.
Like this robot stole her, and
The robot's like controlling.
Yeah.
The robot uprising, Joule.
Yeah.
yeah, like why not? That could be a fun like April Fool's skin. Reverse all the skins, like make them all fun. Anything else to add about Joule, guys? Or you think we should get out of here this week?
Yeah, I think we can get out of here. You can play her in lane too, so if you're looking to do that, like, give that a try.
And she's not, since she's kind of one of the older heroes now. She's probably not too expensive. I don't know we don't know the price, but
Not too expensive. I don't know the price of that.
not top tier.
Not
at least.
top tier, but she's up there.
Yeah. Okay, I just totally lied and gave people a call. So, but that's going to do it for this week's Character Select. You can find, of course, this segment and more over at thelanepodcast.com. With that, I think we're going to jump over to In the Queue.
In the queue.
Welcome to our segment titled In the Queue, which is the segment, it's the potpourri of the show, right? It's the
Potpourri.
Pokemon, I think you meant.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant. It's a segment where we like to just break into a little bit more of a deeper discussion on certain topics that are interesting to us or things we just feel like you guys might want to hear about. Of course, we're being entirely selfish and hijacking the segment of the show to talk all about
Yeah.
the League of Legends World Championship.
Because
for the
that's
next
what
few weeks.
I care about right now.
I gotta say, so this is the first week we've been doing this since there were not games. There's not enough games anymore to start on Thursday.
Yeah.
So
we're
to-
getting down to it.
So, and because we record on Thursdays, it was a little bit weird last week and the week before. We were only able to cover one day.
It's like
of it.
one game.
And
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
recap.
So it's a
Yeah.
little bit of tough, but we're going to talk a little bit about our thoughts on the quarterfinal that happened. Of course, we know from last week that Origin finished their series over Flash Wolves 3-1 and moved on to the semifinal. But we have 3 more series to talk about, and then maybe kind of just get our impressions of what we think is going to happen in the semifinal, since that's
Okay.
coming right up as well. and I'm probably gonna wake up early for those.
Wow.
Except Saturdays are at 9:30.
It's 9:30, so that's not early. Like we're good.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, I'm gonna have to probably miss out on game 1.
Well,
What time does it start on Friday?
it's Saturday and Sunday.
It's not Friday, no Friday, yeah.
Good.
So Saturday at 9:30 Central.
Okay.
And Sunday at 8:30 Central. And we'll talk about the teams in a minute.
All right.
So the next series that we had was the second part of the bracket, or who will face Origin, basically. This was the series between Korea's SK Telecom T1 and AHQ Esports
And it
Club.
wasn't even a contest.
Oh, how was this gonna go?
This was a tough one, I think, because not tough the games at all. Of course, let's just say SKT won.
Yeah.
At this point, it was not a contest. SKT has been
Dominant.
notably dominant in this tournament. Not even dropping a game yet.
Would this have been the Cloud9 matchup if they would have?
Technically,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But this was kind of looked at as almost potentially the best team left and the worst team left, in a way, right? One could argue that you could consider, I don't know, Flash Wolves or Origin, maybe the other two weaker teams, but based on where they finished in their group, this is where we ended up. So, this series, I didn't get a lot of enjoyment out of it. While I do like watching SKT and the coordinated team play and just how good they truly are,
It was just so one-sided.
man, it's just not that. It's not that
Entertaining.
interesting, right?
Yeah.
And it ended up being that I think EasyHoon was scheduled to play, but then they ended up putting in Faker anyway.
Does that mean they're saving Easy Hoon, do you think?
Well, right now,
Cut Faker out from the finals.
Yeah.
right. Well, right now it's scheduled, or at least on the page, as EasyHoon playing in the series against Origin. Now, of course, they have the ability to switch players between games, so Faker could be substituted in at any time if something starts going south.
They should put Faker in, so it's XPeke versus Faker.
That's
That's
what
old
the
school
people want to
matchup.
see,
That's-
right?
Yeah, that's what. Give them what the people want.
Well, they wanted to see Faker versus Ryu too, and that wasn't even a contest. So,
SKT doesn't care. They don't want to give the people. They don't want to.
No.
but offhand, if we look at Faker's picks from this series, right? He played Lulu, Ryze, and Kassadin. Honestly, I can't think of anybody else that he's honestly played. He's played a lot of Ryze mid. He's one of the only people that can successfully do that so far, at least. I believe at one point I thought somebody tried to pick Ryze mid into him, and it just turned out terribly.
But I thought he plays a lot of LeBlanc too.
Well, I think that's probably a permanent ban at this point.
Yeah, but you can't. The thing is, you can't ban out Faker.
Right.
And LeBlanc's not
Because he'll play, Urgot.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He'll play something.
What happened to Urgot?
sure. But I gotta say, my impression is, and of course, I think a lot of people are thinking this on the forums too, that they're looking at Origin as not necessarily a threat. Maybe they're just the next team in their way, and right now, the way SKT is playing, who knows who's going to stop them down the road. So I feel like this might be a way to conceal Faker's picks, right? To play EasyHoon, we think we have a chance here. Give him some credit and actually play. I don't know how much he played in the group stages. I thought at least a game or two.
I don't remember, yeah.
But this match was just... If you want to watch the best team in the world right now, arguably play. Watch the series. Go back and watch the quarterfinal games. And there might have been one game where AHQ kind of looked in control early, but then just... It's like they got too ahead of themselves and were like, oh, we're winning, and did that cocky, confident thing when you forget who your opponent is. It's like, give them an inch, they'll take a mile kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Or however you measure it in Europe.
I don't care.
Give them 1 kilometer and they'll take a millimeter. I don't really know. I think that's wrong.
I know SKT is the favorites, and I know that it's probably not going to be a good time for Origin this weekend, but I'm still going to root for EU. I'm rooting for EU all the way.
They're NA as far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
All we got left.
Yeah. So
Some of them speak English.
This sets up the semifinal. Origin versus SKT rather. I think you can't sell short anything that Origin's accomplished this year. They
made it from nothing to into the
First
semifinal.
into the semifinals.
And for as much as I know Flash Wolves made some pokes or some jabs at the team, calling Peke and so as an ancient player or something like that. I think that's also why somebody said that's why Peke picked ancient Anivia or the fossilized Anivia or something.
Ooh.
Anyway,
Okay.
but I think they're showing that experience is carrying you a long way here. And of course, once we talk about the rest of the teams that are around,
But
I
it's
think
not like
experience
Faker's
is winning.
young blood either.
No,
No.
he's been playing. He's at least 2-3 years deep, right?
Yeah. So I
3 years
think these
deep,
could
at
be.
least.
I think these could be good games. I want them to be good games.
Well, I think we all want it, of course. For as fun and as cool as groups was, quarterfinals was not as competitive as maybe we thought it would be.
I really want Origin to win, but I think it would be bittersweet, like in a good way, to knock a couple games off of SKT.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Origin get one game, if not maybe even the first game. Maybe they just come out hungrier, where you can't take away SKT's focus. Of course, they've shown they haven't dropped a game in I don't know how long, not even prior to Worlds. But I feel like Origin's got something special about them being so, like, Neil seems unfazed.
Right.
Being this rookie, it's got this interesting story built up behind him where it just seems like nothing bothers him. Oh, you're going against Bang, who consistently destroys his opponents.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. I'm Tristana. I don't care. I'm just going to do this until I win.
I think statistically, Niels and Bang are the heaviest damage for ADCs. Like the ADC on their team is doing the most percentage damage on their team. I think Bang and Niels are at the top of all the teams that have played at Worlds.
So that should be an incredible bot lane matchup to watch in there. But even Origin seems to have adapted in many games. There's games when Soaz is carried. There's games when Peke, who people usually think that he just picks a champion to play safe, kind of do his job in the mid lane, he's carried. So I think it's an interesting team. It sounds like the roundtable here at the lane is giving this series to SKT.
But we want it to be Origin.
We would not be surprised to see Origin at least take a game or two. That would be a lot of fun.
But then again, we'll get to this in a minute, but do we want Origin and Fnatic in the final?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Right.
I think that would be the most hilarious.
We've seen it.
I don't care. I think that
like a month ago. Yeah.
I don't care. I think that would be the most hilarious
Korea
finale.
Korea would be so mad.
Yeah. Just the East isn't even really, in it anymore.
Sure.
Now they know how we feel.
Right. So moving on to the East not being in it, I guess we should talk about the third quarterfinal matchup, which was between Europe's Fnatic and China's Edward Gaming.
And we already gave that away.
We did, but Edward Gaming was probably on the short list up there with LGD and SKT going into Worlds, the favorites to win the whole thing, right? It's come out seemingly that Edward has some kind of communication issue or something. I've seen multiple people with different languages.
Yeah, that seems to be a focus of commentators that keep talking about there's communication issues, because EDG is one of those teams that benefited from the Samsung, I guess the Korean exodus, as they've called it, right? Where just all these Korean professional players went to NA, EU, mostly to China.
The money was there.
The money's there.
Yeah.
And they made it to Worlds, and then they couldn't, they seemed sloppy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They just seemed like they had that reckless, almost like Chinese style that we got used to watching
LMQ
a lot when we watch LMQ, right?
Yeah.
It was fun to watch, yeah.
Right.
Fight all the time.
But it was just something that they never looked stable in this series. Of course, we brought it up earlier. There was one game that was remade. I believe that was game 2.
That was when EDG got Mordekaiser and
Graves or
Gangplank.
Gangplank, and so they weren't way ahead. I think they had one kill when the remake happened.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a stomp or anything going on. It wasn't like, oh, let's pick Gragas in case this goes wrong. We'll make this bug. There's always that thought, but
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't do that.
they didn't do that. Yeah.
Sure. So Fnatic ended up taking the series 3-0. Who knows what could have happened in that remade game, but at this point, I think the interesting thing to talk about is probably game 1 with the triple teleport from EDG.
First, that's part of the conversation about game 1. The second of that is the fact that who the ADCs were in the bot lane.
Yes. We have Fnatic's Reckless playing
Kennen.
who he's been playing for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
He played in it.
It's not the first time he's even played it.
But he seems to be the only person who's practiced it a lot, to the point where he knows, if you get Kennen fed, he can do a lot.
Yeah.
And he plays like an ADC. So
it's super safe.
Yes.
Because the second a gank's about to happen, one of the things that, look, Yellow Star is probably one of the top 3 supports in the world.
Yeah.
That's not a question. He doesn't need to babysit Reckless when Reckless is in lane, because if a gank or something happens, he can zip out in his spark form or whatever you want to call that, right?
Yeah. Or by the time I guess he built ADC items. I was going to say he could also build his Zonias if he wanted to.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He doesn't do that.
But you could.
He could.
And then the ADC from Deft was actually Jace, which was honestly subpar.
Jace with a teleport. That's where the third teleport was.
Now, he wasn't that. I mean, of course, it was quite a bit of deaths on both sides. It was 21-16 total kills overall. Deft actually died the least. However, it just felt like it wasn't doing anything.
The teleport wasn't being used for doing plays. It was mainly used to get back in lane.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I don't think, a good pick.
I feel like their strategy was to do that Chinese like crazy style of like at any moment 2 people could be there, 5 people could be there. Like,
right.
We could just do that, and as long as we have advantage, we will technically, by virtue of having 3-to-1 teleport, we should theoretically always have numbers advantage against you. But man, the way they played it, it was only weird at first, and then Fnatic kind of just started figuring out the timings. It never made an impact.
You give up so much by carrying teleport because you no longer have an offensive or defensive summoner.
Right.
So you're running flash teleport, so that means you don't have an ignite.
Or a heal.
You don't have a heal. You don't have a cleanse, anything like that. So if moves aren't being made around the map, like utilizing those teleports,
right,
you're at a disadvantage in lane because your opponent has that. And even then, if you do make moves around the map, the cooldown on teleport is long. Yeah, if I'm playing against a triple teleport team, if I'm Fnatic, I'm keeping track of those cooldowns, and I'm like, all their teleports are down for 5 minutes, and that means they don't have ignite, they don't have heal. Like, this is our window. Let's do stuff.
Yeah. So that one was interesting, I guess. The second game we had a Vigar from Pawn, which was fun but also ineffective. The second game, it was all about Fabivin. 9-0-2 is LeBlanc. Carried that game, made it look easy.
Underrated. I think one of the underrated Fnatic members.
Yeah.
When you talk about Fnatic, Fabivin's never the first person you talk about.
For sure. And he's usually the person that they don't try to get fed, but they do that triple threat a lot of times where, look, Huni, Fabivin, or Reckless, it doesn't matter. Yep. One of them is going to carry.
One of them is going to carry.
Yeah.
And Rainover is going to support, and Yellow Star is going to bust out the top
which
catch.
means, and that's really worked out with the current meta because tank junglers, if you've got carry top, carry mid, if you've got a carry top, you don't have a tank top.
Mm-hmm.
So that means your tanks are going to be jungle or support, and that works with the current meta.
Especially in this game, they picked Gragas jungle and Tahm Kench support. Tahm Kench support, based on what the pros are playing, is kind of broken. Tahm Kench support lets you pick Jinx, and Jinx is getting all the headlines and stuff in Worlds because people are just playing her incredibly. She's someone that is an unsafe hero,
hyper carry,
and needs time. But man, you can make so much stuff happen if Tahm Kench is the one backing you up.
Tahm Kench can save your ass.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah.
All right, come on, little girl, let's go.
In my experience playing Tahm Kench, if I had a 5-man gank bot lane, and the other person got stunned, and what I did was ate my ADC, flashed, and then spit them out behind the tower. 5-man gank is useless.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And then I think the other interesting point to notice about the way the meta shifting is picks are changing a little bit too. With lots of Jinx picks now, we're starting to see Caitlyn's come out of people, who's been kind of like dormant for a long time because it's typically agreed that she is not the strongest champion before you have 4 items, honestly.
But she's got range and poke to get to get Jinx out of lane.
So I think that's been interesting. The Caitlyn's have been pretty impressive overall. Def didn't do a whole lot this game, but as a counter to Jinx, it's kind of like when SKT always picks Renekton into Darius. They're comfortable with that matchup. Yeah. It seems like other teams are comfortable now with like, well, we'll pick Caitlyn into that.
And the reason is Renekton has that immediate stun on his W, I believe. Yeah, has that immediate stun. So if when Darius engages, he pulls you towards him, and then he winds up that Q, and that Q has a cast time. Yeah. And so as soon as they go into the cast time and the Q, stun, and I'm
dash
gone.
away.
And I'm gone. Yeah.
Okay. The third game, of course, Reckless got his hands on Jinx once again. Went 9-1-6. Absolutely carried it, did a crazy amount of damage. This one also was not that close. I don't know what it was about this series. It just looked like EDG was never together as a team, and meanwhile Fnatic went back to their old ways, and it's just so strange. Remember our discussion of the first day of groups, and how weird Fnatic seemed in the first week.
Huni seemed super off that first week. He back.
Yeah.
And then now they just look like the strong team they did. So Fnatic moves on to the semifinal. And of course, the last quarterfinal match we had was KT Rolster versus the Ku Tigers from Korea. And this actually allowed Stark to officially have more points than me and win the bracket because we had all the rest of the same
You're
picks.
welcome. Yeah.
This was also a 3-1 win, so another not long series for the Ku Tigers. And I don't know why I picked K. I think I just liked KT's play, or maybe I'd watched more KT games over the course of the
They're
thing.
higher seeded. I mean,
Oh, okay.
Right.
Maybe that was my
they're
thought
the
with
number
picks
one
there.
seed in Group A versus Group C.
Mhm.
They were the number one seed in Group C versus number 2 seed in Group A.
Right.
Okay.
This was kind of a matchup, but these guys played each other all year anyway,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's why I kind of wasn't that interested in it. I don't love the regional things. That's why if it ends up being Origin Fnatic, it's going to be kind of interesting because we follow these teams quite a bit. Either with the LCSs, we watch quite a bit.
But on a world scale for
I
viewership, I don't think it'll be that interesting.
I think region versus region is interesting because the play styles and picks are different.
Yeah.
But this series was I didn't know what to
Yeah.
expect from it. It was just an okay series. I guess I was more shocked that this more than any other series felt like the games went back and forth a lot until one team could finally kind of claw ahead. One team would win early game, the other team would win mid game, and then somebody would come back and win late game. And after that, it kind of never seemed to be. Although it looks like KT won the first game, and then Ku won the rest of them.
Right. KT never really found their footing, it seemed. They were always like,
And even that first
Mistakes.
game, even that first game was kind of like, yeah, we won, but it was not a, a clean win.
Not
That was
that
a dirty, not a convincing win.
Taking a look at the picks, nothing super interesting out of all these guys. We are seeing the rise of the double teleport meta. That seems to be the new thing
Yep,
now.
that's pretty much on the reg now,
We're
right?
seeing almost no ignites come out that often anymore. It's a lot of heals or cleanse or something like that, based on who needs it.
It's because they're banning Garen.
Nobody's banning Garen.
What? No one's banning Garen?
What are you talking
Are
about?
sure?
Mordekaiser
Garen's not being
gameplay.
played.
True,
Good
and
enough.
Skarner's not being played either. So I don't know what's up
Right.
with that.
Well, the ignite is you need the ignite if someone's got a heal heavy champ,
Mhm.
like a Garen, like a Vladimir. I've seen some. Hasn't there been some Vladimir?
there might have been one, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's when you roll with the ignite.
Yeah, but generally, I don't know. This double teleport thing is interesting. It's the Anivia pick from I always want to say Froggen from Peke made sense because there's the whole trick of I could kind of save myself.
Yeah, but he didn't even use it in that
He
way.
didn't use it in that way. I think it's more the cheese way to use it anyway.
That's the cheese way, yeah.
But do you think it's literally just a positioning thing? It's we can make sure we have people there
Yeah,
quicker.
I think so.
And in that case, I just feel like maybe this world is way more focused on numbers. How many people are in a fight versus how many aren't there. And it's just, I don't know what it is. Of course that makes sense in MOBA games, right? I think of all the times I play Heroes. Do what your team's doing. If you're 5v4, you're probably going to win. That doesn't always seem the case here because people can honestly get fed, right? But it just seems like that's kind of what people are doing. We're seeing a lot of Victor. We're seeing a lot of Fiora come back. Of course, it's going to be interesting this week when Gragas is no longer available for people, as we mentioned earlier.
So sad.
So we got Fnatic versus the Ku Tigers. What's your thoughts, guys?
Fnatic all the way.
Fnatic, yeah.
I mean, I know we want that. Do we really think that's going to happen?
I think
I-
they will. I think it'll be close.
No, I
No?
don't think it'll be close.
Who wins more? I mean, obviously they have to win the same amount of games.
I don't think it'll be close. I think Ku is a solid team.
Mhm.
Ku, I mean, they used to be GE Tigers.
Yep.
They destroyed at MSI, but it's been 6 months, right? Or it hasn't been 6. It's been a few months.
And
Yeah.
Fnatic's playing like SKT where they hardly lost any games.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, they only had their first bad week where they went 1-2, and then they won the rest of the way. Right?
If
to actually get
Fnatic
in.
comes correct without any of the problems that we saw in that first week of group stages,
right?
this is not a close game.
No, I could see this being 3-1 again. I could see
Yeah.
both series honestly being 3-1 with the two dominant teams that I think we both think are going to move on to the finals, being SKT and Fnatic, which could be a really interesting final, honestly.
That's what
I hope so, yeah.
whoever wins, we get a second set of skins.
Of those skins.
That's true, yeah.
From an already established
Somebody
or
made
already
some
skinned
comment on
team.
Reddit that was them subbing in Easy Hoon was oh man, SKT's trying to get a sixth skin. What
Yeah.
are they doing here? So if that's the case, I don't know, guys. Do you feel like these EU teams, Origin and Fnatic, still being here, are they really Are they legit, or are they feeding off of this home crowd and that's doing a lot for them?
I think that it helps. The home crowd definitely helps.
Yeah.
I don't think we can discount that. If this was taking place in Korea, I'm not sure if Origin would be where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Fnatic would still be doing well.
Sure.
But definitely home field advantage, the crowd, everything. That's helping these guys out.
Sure.
For sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, I can't tell how much it helps. Like, obviously, everybody boot camping here are playing. Like, people did go to Korea, but if you're playing day to day, you're playing EU West, right? You're playing on that meta and everything that EU already knows.
They know that, yeah.
Yeah.
So now these other teams are almost playing, let's not say play down, but playing into what that daily meta
Right.
is. Now, granted, it's solo queue. You can't really
And this is
say much, but-
and not only, I mean, I've heard that when they go and they're sitting down and they're playing and they've got the headphones on, they can't really hear the crowd.
Right.
But it's the in between when their headsets are off and they're hearing their names chanted and stuff. That's got to be a great
The
feeling.
energy.
Yeah, that's
Right.
got to be Fnatic. Or what is it?
Take my energy.
Take my energy. Fnatic, take my energy.
Take the baguette.
Right.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I feel like that's the dream final, is Fnatic SKT.
Yeah.
While Fnatic Origin would be fun, we have seen it before, and at this rate, I don't know that it would be a contest. If Origin has a miraculous series and beats SKT, I still just think if Fnatic makes it to the final, they're just on a tear, and I think that would be a much more interesting series. I also wish it was 7 games. It's still 5, right?
Also,
Finals, yeah.
equally as boring would be SKT versus Coup Tigers.
Right, that would be a stomp. And
That would be a stomp, and that's, once again, 2 people from the same region.
Mm-hmm. I think that's why we just need to mix it up. Maybe we get the weird Origin versus Coup Tigers final. Who knows? But that's definitely not what
Fnatic and
people are
SKT
predicting.
just
Yeah,
like
that actually,
Sandbag.
I'm changing my.
Pick 'em?
Yeah, I want it. I think that it would be the most fun.
Just two
finals.
teams who are totally nervous. They're like, we
Yeah.
are not supposed to be.
OG versus Coup Tigers, and then we get OG skins, and we get a Fiora with a baguette sword.
That would be. I think they should just make it anyway.
Yeah.
At this point.
yeah.
So I think that's going to cover our discussion in the queue this week, all about Worlds. We're really looking forward to this. Of course, if you're going to watch these games, our show will be out on Friday, or you're listening to this now on Friday. The games are, of course, on Saturday, October 24th at 9:30 a.m. for Origin versus SK Telecom T1, and Sunday, October 25th at 8:30 a.m. for Fnatic versus Coup Tigers. These times are both Central Standard Time, Daylight Time. Which one is it? One of those.
Central Standard Time.
Central
Wow.
our time, Chicago time. Look it up.
Chicago
That's
time.
what it is.
Chicago.
This is the lane.
Darlene. How did we never make that joke until this
I
many
know.
episodes in? Okay.
Yeah, I made the joke.
But I think that's going to do it for our show this week. This has been a really fun episode having Hollywood back. Just going to keep going with that. So, Brad, where can people find out more about you when you're not recording this show?
So you can look for me. My star is on Walk of Fame.
You can find me on Ventura Boulevard and
On Twitter, it's @brad, and then my blog is digitalhitchhiker.com.
Cool. And Stark, what about you, man?
most places on the internet you can find me at Dr. Starkweather, Dr. Starkweather. That's in game. That's on Twitter. That's all kinds of places. You just hey, is there a website you like? Reddit? Sure. Hey, it's Dr. Hey, that's me. Yeah.
I'm the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except if you're playing Adventure Time Battle Party. In that case, it's Dr. Bradley Banjo.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Jacob Williams. My in-game name for most of these games is Fizzban. Of course, we have all of this in the show notes as well if you want to get any of our screen names. Jump on Discord with us, any of that kind of stuff. Of course, if you want more The Lane Podcast, you can follow us on Twitter at The Lane Podcast. We are over on the Facebooks over at facebook.com/The Lane Podcast. We're on that Google Plus thing. I'm going to keep
Perhaps
bringing
you've
it up.
heard of it.
You might have heard of it. Maybe it's still around. I don't know. Check that out.
We're there, though. We're there.
We're over there. If you want to send us an email, let us know your thoughts on the show or things you'd like to hear us discuss on future shows. You can email us at thelanepodcast@gmail.com.
Hey, what if they have an idea for next monthly challenge?
You can send it to thelanepodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, okay.
Or on
Thanks,
Twitter.
unassuming viewer.
Yeah. I just, it's we got to come up with a new one next month. So,
and of course, the main hub for the show is thelanepodcast.com for shows, show notes, and our character select segments, which we break out every week, so you guys can have a little separate little chunk of the lane. If you happen to not want to listen to the entire show, you can just get that little tidbit of how we like to play these weird champions and heroes from all these games.
Timbits.
And of course, we wouldn't like to end the show without mentioning our Timbits. We're talking about Tim Hortons treats.
Talking about donuts.
Of course, if you're liking the show and you want us to stick around and want us to rise in the ratings and get more people to listen just like you, go and leave us a review over on iTunes. We would love to have a 5-star review if you feel so inclined.
I think
we have a new 5-star review. Should I read it?
Yeah, why don't you read this nice new 5-star review?
All right, hold on. It's podcasts.
All right. Yes, if you leave a review, we'll read them.
I will read it.
Yeah, we want to thank our 5-star reviewers and let it be known.
Here it is. Great podcast for MOBAs, it's titled. 5 stars. I listen to these great, entertaining, likable fellas, and also Dr. Starkweather.
Damn.
Every week to get my MOBA fix. Keep it up, MoBros, and play League once in a while. Your pal, Wise Papa Smurf.
Aw, Thanks, Wise Papa Smurf. And Dr. Starkweather. That was a perfect review. If you want to leave one like that, head on over to iTunes, give us a review, and more lovely people like yourselves will be listening to our show.
Maybe you disagree with this dick bag, and you think I am fantastic. Leave a 5-star review.
Okay, well, I think that's going to do it for this week's show of the Lane Podcast. This has been a great episode. We'll be back next week with episode 67 next week, so catch you then.
Take care.
Later.
The Lane Podcast.
I'm not going to say anything funny before the show this time.